This is the Volvo 850 T5. We are down at Petrol Hedonism and we're going to be reviewing this. Some say it's the best police car ever invented, but why? Watch the video to find out more. This is a 2.3 turbo 5-cylinder. 0-60 is 6 seconds with a top speed around 150 miles an hour. But is it remapped? Is it chipped? We're going to have to find out. My mate Steve. Steve, come on, come talk to me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Steve. He used to drive one of these, didn't you?
I did.
Right, can you tell us about the car, first this one, and about your history in the police?
The 850, it was the first of a complete new breed from Volvo.
Yeah.
Completely different to what they've used previously. And they were different for us as well. Up till then, we've been used to like 3-litre manual rear-wheel drive. This arrived front-wheel drive, automatic, which none of us were prepared for.
Did this change policing in general? Because you used to have one of these as your traffic car, didn't you?
Yes.
And this one were actually a traffic car as well, wasn't it?
It was.
Right,
Yep.
Tell us about the car. Where's it come from?
It was based at Fareham Traffic Garage in Hampshire.
Right.
It was the first batch of 850 T5s that we got in Hampshire.
Right.
So this is one of the original 8 that we had.
So this is one of the original
Yeah.
850 T5s. What's it like in a pursuit then? Because you were actually a traffic cop, proper traffic cop, old school before my day.
Yeah, real one, proper one.
Whoa, shiny shoe brigade.
Not RPU, traffic.
I was still traffic, proper traffic. But you pursued in these. I never
Yes.
got to pursue in an 850.
Yeah.
What sort of vehicles were you pursuing at the time in the 850?
RS turbos, XR2Is, early Subarus.
Right. Did you ever go against Cosworth?
Once.
Right, and were it Sapphire or Sierra?
Sapphire.
And any good against this, or did it beat it?
It was about a quarter of a mile ahead of us. It couldn't get away from us, and we couldn't catch him.
Oh, stalemate, stalemate.
Completely. And then it vanished.
Right. So going against the new car now, so a BMW in a T-Pack and this in a T-Pack, what's going to be the difference? Will this go through a wall sideways and come out unscathed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. And I have to say, there are police officers alive today, only thanks to these.
But because they always say, don't they, Volvos, the box here, but they're safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the thing is now, you're putting this against a new Volvo. In its day, this were really big. And looking at them now, they're not really big, are they, anymore? They're quite a small car of these.
And that V60 there is their sort of mid-range car now. It's not V90, which is their big estate. And yet this at the time seemed huge.
What's top speed you've had out of this one?
Honestly?
Yep.
148 on Vascar.
Oh, 148 on Vascar. But that's because it's a legitimate police car and a legitimate driver, not because he's driving on a private road or a public road doing his own thing. So I'm going to ask you
not actually in this one.
Yeah, I'm not answering this one. So I'm going to ask you a question which all the viewers obviously want to know. In regards to the Volvo 850 T5 and the one you were driving in this one here, have you or any of the police done anything performance-wise, have the chip remapped, bigger turbos, performance exhaust, to make these bad boys faster on the road?
I really can't say.
And why can't you tell me? Is it top secret?
Definitely.
Right. But people always ask these questions, don't they? They've always asked this question ever since time began. Right, take us around the vehicle then. Shall we have a look in the boot first?
Okay.
Come round, have a look in the boot.
The first thing you might notice is that the chevrons are upside down.
Why do you do that?
I didn't. Our workshops, because it was all done in the house at that time, wasn't done by Volvo. Whoever was given the job of putting these on for 2 years.
No one knew.
Put the graphics on upside down.
And no one knew.
No.
No one brought it up.
No.
So rear matrix in back. You've got obviously your blue flashes there as well. So it's kitted out in theory how it is on duty, isn't it?
That's exactly as it was.
Yeah, it's going to be just how it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you carrying in this in 1994, 95?
Right. Obviously all the usual signs, 12 cones, triggers broom, plastic shovel, stinger.
This is nice. This is different. These are your stickings for your signs as well.
Yeah, just unroll to add on to slow sign, or there's diversion signs there.
Right. So one thing we want to ask is, people say this all the time, and they always say it does, and I've never found it. Does the weight in the back of these vehicles make any difference to the handling?
No.
Yeah, because people think it does.
really
People
doesn't.
always say it's got to make a difference in weight. It's got to make a difference in handling.
No.
It doesn't, does it?
On these, it never did. These were excellent.
Right. And
never
what's
had
in the
any
black
problem.
box?
In that,
Yep.
laser gun.
Right. Which one is it? Is it Pro Laser or is it Laser 2?
2.
Go on, let's have a quick look. Whop it out. Whop it out. Yeah, 2 ones with wire,
Yeah.
So this, when I first started in traffic, this is the laser gun we used to have where it was plugged in with big wiring. Look at size, come in, can you get a shot of this? Well, so this is what they used to use. A bit cumbersome, but that's more of a weapon than it is a laser gun, isn't it?
It worked.
And I don't think with laser that, you might get some sort of disease coming out back into that. Is that bad? Steve, what's this then?
It's gun box.
Right. Well, I know it's a gun box, but they don't, do they?
Or nowadays, my lunchbox.
Right, so these are removable. We obviously have a full hard stack in back of ours, but in 1994, 95, this is how they used to be, isn't it?
Correct.
Why have you got one in the back of here in a traffic car?
Why have I got one?
Yeah.
Well, because I found it and I thought I'm going to make use of that.
You had no dedicated ARV, did you?
No, I by mutual consent,
Right,
I didn't become an ARV officer.
right, because you didn't like shooting guns anymore.
Well, I did. I mean, who doesn't like shooting guns?
But if you're looking here, Cameron, come in here, this is what the gun boxes used to look like. So these are removable. People would go, get the weapons, put them in, bring the safes in, and safes used to clip into cars. So these are what your old school gun boxes used to be like. So I can't do a criminal test in this car. The reason being is, in an old firearms car, the windows don't go down, and then obviously you'd have a gun box in, so you wouldn't ever sit a criminal in the back of the car. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do a criminal test. However, it is a Volvo, and I can tell you, for comfort, you're going to get a 9 out of 10. And yeah, there'll be no way a shitbag would ever be in back of one of these. Right, so we're in the T5 now. Firstly, it's an automatic gearbox.
Yep.
It's not a current gearbox, what we'd have now, DSG and that sort of thing. What were it like with the old school gearboxes in Pursuits and stuff like that? And did you find any lack of performance, any turbo lag?
No turbo lag, or very, very little. There certainly was in the later ones.
Yeah.
In the early V70s. Gearbox was fine if you were used to using an automatic gearbox. My crewmate had never driven an auto in his life.
Really?
And we were just expected to get in this.
And you knew what we were doing?
Drive it,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you also find any issues with being like high performance, then shutting on the brakes with Volvos? Because we used to lose a lot of steering power when we were in the Pursuit, anchoring on brakes. We'd lose a lot of steering power first of all while it all tried to reset itself. Then it wouldn't want to go either from first into reverse or reverse into
No,
first.
that was later V70s.
Yeah.
These were a brute. There's no other way to describe it. And when they brought out the first of the V70s and then the one after that, they took all the rough edges off this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they made it a bit too clever.
Yeah.
And that's continued today with the problems they got with the V90s and things. But there's no vices with this at all. Nothing.
It does what it says on the tin, so to speak. So take us through it then. You've got your normal cockpit, you've got your radios. Can you discuss Vascar? Because people, I know what Vascar is, I've explained it, but just explain it for people in simple terms, from being 1995 and wanting to do a following check.
Okay. There's no laser beams or anything. It's not a computer. It's basically a pocket calculator. That's the way I used to describe it to the public. It's done time over distance. There's various different methods you can use with it, either follow check or vehicles coming up behind you, vehicles that overtake you. Depends on how you actually use it at the time. But basically, if you're doing a standard follow check and a car goes underneath a motorway bridge and casts a shadow over it, you put the time on. We then go past the same bridge, put the distance on. We can even then catch the vehicle up. Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
When it goes past another bridge, take the time off. We go under the same thing, flick the distance up, and then up on the screen there will come their average speed over that distance.
That distance, yeah. It's not like I said, it's got to be static points, hasn't it? And it gives you a very good calculation of the vehicle that's been travelling at speed, because people used to say, well, how was it working? You sit in the car and say, it's not something in theory you can go through unless you're tutored and experience it, because people are like, well, I don't get it.
No.
But you've got apps on your phone now that does all this sort of thing for you as well.
True.
Old radio as well. Because again, we've gone to digital radios, it's all changed. but you've got your, I remember you had to go through different channels to get in at Pursuit, and it like go on to channel 6, go do this,
Yeah.
and everyone's pushing loads of buttons
Yeah.
and no one knows what's going on. It's all a bit random.
Yeah, I have to say, the clear tone radio system I thought was awful.
Yeah.
If you were single crewed, it was a nightmare because you've got VHF on the left, UHF on the right. On traffic, we had both channels running at the same time. So at the left speaker came VHF, at the right speaker here came UHF. It's no wonder I got tinnitus.
They don't make it easy, do they?
No, they don't. But when you were single crewed, and one of the worst pursuits I was involved in was 2 escapees from Lewis Prison. I didn't know that at the time. In a stolen BMW, we were doing 130 miles an hour in a 30 limit. I was originally on UHF because it was a local problem, but then I went out of their area. And we were going so fast, there was no way I was going to take my eye off the start.
And look down and start pressing buttons.
Yeah. So for 20 minutes, no one knew where I was.
People don't understand this though, do they?
No.
Until you've done the job and until you've been in the Pursuit and driven fast. People comment on videos all the time. I can go fast, I can dust them, I can do X, Y, and Z. But until you've done it, people can't understand, can they?
No.
Or comprehend what the job's like.
And it is terrifying.
It is, isn't it?
There's no such thing as a good chase.
Yeah. Well, all chases are going to be dangerous,
yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
It's just how we handle the speed and handle what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But just go through your light setup as well, what you've got in front here.
Okay. These are actually fitted by Volvo straight from the factory. So you got right and left alley lights coming out the side. You got 360s. Rear reds, you can just have the front blues, just have the rear blues, just have the rear reds. It's quite multifunctional, which we'd never had before.
Yeah.
So it covered most eventualities.
Because before this, mainly it were rotators, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then these obviously stepped up the game. And last but not least, you've got your tracker. So I've explained this to so many people, so many times. You get a tracker alert, it comes up with a specific code, it comes up with a strength signal.
Yeah.
And obviously yours is a little bit different to us because you've got the spots where we just have the LCD screen. But obviously it gives you a directional arrow of where you want to be going, and the strength gets bigger and bit beep, 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 until you're literally right on the vehicle. It could be 20 foot in front of you, and then it'll be a full constant tone, it'll be beep, and then you found it. You ring tracker, they deactivate the signal, and the vehicle's recovered.
Yeah.
Trackers, they're old school. They're still good, but I think today's technology we should be doing something else. Each car should be built with some sort of chip in it,
Should be,
or some sort of GPS, and we should just be able to, on a night, just go around picking up stolen cars from wherever they are.
Yeah.
But until car manufacturers get on that, we don't know. So, right, I'm going to ask you a question. In all cars you've ever driven, why the T5 is so special? Why it's classed as the king of the road?
It's obviously fast. It handles really well. It's supremely comfortable, as all Volvos are. I mean, prior to that, all the BMWs we had, we all had those roll-up back support things for our backs because the seats were awful. I mean, this is our office, as you know. We live in these 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and they've got to be comfortable, but they're safe. I've had a couple of quite big prangs in one of these.
They're imposing as well when you see this. Don't forget, in 1994, 95, if you're driving something like a Sierra, you're driving a Fiesta, you're driving an Allegro. When this comes up, well, you do, aren't you? All aggro. When you're driving and this comes up behind you, you can see it means business. It looks threatening, it looks menacing, and this is what this car stood for.
I'll tell you the other thing that I'd never taken into consideration before is if you went to an accident on a housing estate, for example, you'd suddenly get young teenage lads who wouldn't never normally speak to the police at all about anything. They'd come up to you and say, "Hey mate, is this a T5?"
Yeah.
And you say, "Yeah." "Oh wow."
It broke down barriers, didn't it? Yeah.
Does it really do 200 miles an hour? Well, yeah. Of course it does.
Times were different then as well. I think we the right thing bringing this Volvo out at that time. And I think now this is what we need to do in the police. They need to step up and obviously get specifically higher performance cars. So they're seen as a threat on the road for all the criminals out there.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to put a comment on saying that shouldn't be right, you shouldn't be saying that, but criminals should be feared. Criminals should fear the police. They should fear the tactics and fear what we've got in. So I want to thank you very much, Steve, for showing me the vehicle.
Pleasure.
Before we go, can you tell us about Police Car UK? So if you want to see any of these vehicles, the classic police vehicles, tell us about Police Car UK.
Well, it was formed 20 years ago now, and it's brought together like-minded petrol-head cops.
Because we are, aren't we?
We are, yeah. Even those that are sort of closet enthusiasts, they all flock round these cars when we're at events. But we've got about 60 odd cars in the club, everything from Wolseys and Rileys, right up to sort of fairly modern stuff.
And like the Jag opposite that we're going to be doing
yeah.
a review on in a few minutes as well.
And it's public love it.
Yeah.
We go to events all over the country, literally from the Isle of Wight to Scotland, virtually every weekend of the year. A lot of it's done for charitable events. And the public just love looking at the older cars. They've all got stories about them. You know, they've all been chased by one. They've all been put in the back of one. And it's always this particular one.
Yeah,
you know.
that chased me even in Scotland.
Yeah, that's right.
Even though, I've come a long way out of my district for that.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you very much, you gentlemen.
Pleasure.
So this is a Volvo 850 T5. You've heard some of the stories, you've seen it, you've seen inside and all its tricks and whistles. I think you'll agree it is probably the best pursuit cars ever been made, and it will still stay as king of the road. So tune in next time for some more videos, and I'll see you then.